Welcome back to the Nest here, and we are going to celebrate our winter 2019-2020 season. Needless to say, it was one of the best winters and most exciting winters that we've ever had. The Nest was rocking literally from competition number one, and all of our 6 programs in the winter just carried the fall momentum right through, and we simply had one of the finest winter seasons that we've ever had. And that's what we want to celebrate today, Joe, as we bring in our podcast viewers once again, and 6 teams in the wintertime. And like we said earlier, I mean, the gymnasium, the pool, the bowling alley, the bubble at Tom's River, our winter sports team put on a show of the likes that we've probably never seen before in the winter.
You know, they say West Deptford's a fall and spring school, and here we go putting down one of the most successful winters we've ever had. And we actually followed that up. Last year's winter was very successful as well. So just to show how well-rounded we are and how our student athletes are getting involved in all 3 seasons and making it a point to show we can compete in any sport, any season, anytime.
And the reality is we're a Group 2 school. We're limited on the number of students that we have. We have a lot of students out there that are phenomenal athletes that may participate in one sport, a ton that participate in 2. But I think what separates us apart, and certainly what gave us the season that we had this year in the winter, was those 2 and 3 sport athletes combined with those single sporters that made for some incredible moments in the gym. We opened up with swimming, and Coach Juliet Lancaster, a Hall of Famer, graduate of West Deptford, leading our swimming team along with head diving coach Mike Grubb in his first year, and a very competitive year. And unfortunately, you know, our swim team early and late dealt with a lot of illness. The flu or whatever it was spread rampant throughout December and into January.
Crazy.
You know, kind of died off and then came back in February. And our swim team certainly felt the brunt of that. But some big-time key victories right off the bat. The first time we beat Woodbury, a combined Woodbury Gateway squad, first time in a long time, as well as a win over Paul VI. The first time since I've been here in the last 7 years. So a very competitive squad, and Coach Lancaster continues to get the numbers out. We talked about Coach Steele in the fall recap and what he's done for our girls tennis program. Well, Coach Lancaster has done a great job recruiting in the winter and has really brought it back.
She does a great job. Such a positive influence. Also helps out in the spring with track as well. But, you know, she's West Deptford through and through. She's tough as nails. She loves coaching the kids up, and she wants to continue to increase her numbers. And I know she was very, very excited to have her daughter, April, join the team this year. You know, obviously the daughter of a swim coach. She brought a lot to the team, and I know that was exciting for Coach, not only because she's her daughter, but it increases the competition and the competitiveness of our swim team, and they deserve that.
No doubt. And if we were healthy, I hate to say if. You know, we never want to be that person to say if, but had we been healthy, I think you can tack on another 2 or 3 big-time wins to that final win-loss record. But Coach Lancaster's daughter, April, just an incoming freshman, qualifies for the state tournament, which is huge for an incoming freshman. Also, we have Jenna Clandaniel, you know, a veteran who earns third-team All-South Jersey honors, as both April and Jenna won Gloucester County championships and both qualified for the NJSIAA state championship and broke some records on the way, did Jenna. So an exciting winner in the pool, and congratulations to the swimming and diving squad for representing our school the way that we like to see it be represented.
Yep, they did an outstanding job. And remember, we compete as a co-ed swim team against some all-boy team, all-girl teams, and we continue to make noise and make waves in the pool, if I might add.
Things get more exciting as we move to winter track. It kind of builds and builds and builds. Coach Dixon taking over the winter track team once again as he leads the boys and girls winter track team. Some great performances in the South Jersey Group 2 tournament as Zach Rhoda places 4th in the 1600 and 6th in the 3200, carrying over from his cross-country season and then preparing for his spring season. Markayla Anderson, a senior, places 4th in the 55-meter hurdles. I mean, Markayla feels like she's been around for a long time. She's done a lot of really good things in our building. Mackenzie Bria places 6th in that same event, the 55 hurdles. Hope Seiner, who we talked about in the fall, continues to make waves as she places fourth in the 3,200. And our man, Wilbert Sager, wins the South Jersey Group 2 high jump and takes first. So a great showing by our winter track squad.
And winter track is a tough sport, being that, you know, most of your meets are up at Toms River. There's no bubble in South Jersey. It's hour-long bus rides, getting back at 10 o'clock. But here we are continuing to put in 40 to 60 kids out in that program and keeps it competitive, and it's a great tune-up for the spring season. So it was exciting to see all of those kids between hallway runs and 30-degree weather runs outside that they found any way to train, and they were always getting after it.
Rolls us into bowling, which is, you know, quite simply one of the most historic seasons that any team has ever had. Our girls team finishes 8-6-1 on the backs of a veteran group, many of whom are coming back. You know, we'll lose Maddie Watts next year, but Meredith Citrone, Ree Ferris, Gabby Miller, and Renasia Aikens all come back. And you know, a couple pins away from maybe being, you know, 9-4, you know, 9-4-1, maybe a 10-win season. So they're certainly anticipating that next year. But talk to us about our boys this year.
The boys bowling team just putting themselves in the history books. I mean, 15-0, probably the greatest boys bowling team in school history. You know, led by senior Brandon Parker, who put himself on the map last year, taking 4th overall in the state across all groups in the individual tournament. And I think his leadership is what speaks to what the boys did this year.
Something about Brandon and the way that he's able to pull people together for a sport that I think many would consider like a niche sport, for, you know, a group that you don't see a lot of multi-sporters in bowling, but Brandon had this ability to kind of draw people into him and really take the lead in terms of their preparation. That whole group this year was seniors. So you talk about a group with a whole lot to prove next year in filling shoes. You know, Brandon, Cyrus Tomasabi, Shane McDonald, Ben Chen, Billy Quick, Will Lopez, all those guys are seniors, and they blazed the trail for what happened this year. So Coach Burr and Coach Sealy are going to have a lot to make up for next year. I'm sure they will do that. But finishing second in South Jersey, and then qualifying for the state tournament, and both Brandon and Cyrus also qualifying for the individual state tournament. I mean, just a record-setting, dominant performance from the bowling squad.
And as a casual bowler myself, thanks to Mr. Sealy, I can really appreciate what the boys and girls bowling team does. It is not an easy sport. You know, all eyes are on you every time you're up there. And after talking to Coach Burr and Coach Sealy, I applaud both programs, but I applaud Brandon Parker. Mr. Sealy would constantly say, you know, Joe, he's getting ready for the biggest tournament of his life, but he can't wait to invite all his teammates down on that lane to practice with him. It didn't matter. It was never about him. It was always about team success, and I think his name will always go down in history because the team success was greater than his own success in this senior year.
I just love sitting in the office second period and Coach Sealy and Coach Burr come down, and they're talking about oil patterns and strategy on how they're going to attack certain lanes and the way that they're practicing and preparing and the intensity level with which you got to operate at that stage. That just good. It's another feather in the cap of West Deptford Athletics saying, whatever sport we offer, we want to be the best. And if you sign up for it, we want you to have fun. We want it to be a great experience, but we also want you to win. We want you to take it seriously, and I think that's a great example of that. And that kind of rolls us into our girls' basketball season. Another season where, you know, one where Coach Petito once again proves that we are heading in the direction of championships as we win our first playoff game in nearly a decade with one of the most talented groups that we've had, and a very young group that a number of them are coming back next year.
Absolutely. 16-2 on the year. Like you had mentioned, a big first-round playoff win over Colonial Conference opponent Audubon. Also knocking off Haddon Township girls basketball this year during the year. I bet we'd have to look back 10, 15 years to see when the last time that was. Haddon Township is a factory of girls basketball players. So just some major milestones, you know, finishing above 500, a playoff win, keeping the group together, you know, some new additions to the team, some young talent coming up through the program. I know that middle school team was absolutely
undefeated.
stacked.
Yep, undefeated.
With players coming up in the program. So, if you look at where we were, 5-10 years ago and where we are now, we're a contender. We're a top 5 team in the Colonial Conference. We're a top 6 playoff team. We've arrived, and it's a little uncomfortable for people, but we're competitive in that sport.
We talked about in the fall. I think I said that the girls' soccer team was going to be the dark horse to kind of come out. Put your chips in the girls' basketball for next year, 2021, because with what they have coming back and the foundation that was set by this year's seniors, you got some serious competitors walking into that gym next year. So buckle up.
And like most of our winter teams, another team that had to deal with the injury bug and the illness bug, and that seemed to be the theme of the winter, but there was never an excuse in any of those programs. And I'd just like to give Zanaya Carr and Samira a shout out, as they both suffered some season-ending injuries, and we wish them a speedy recovery. We know they'll be back and as hungry as ever to compete for that team. But, you graduate a handful, and you've got a lot of talent coming up in the program.
No doubt. Which takes us into our wrestling team, the 19-9 wrestling team led by alum coach Nick Iraldi, another young up-and-coming coach who is doing a phenomenal job with the assistance of assistant coach James Shields. Coach Iraldi was named by NJ.com as the Colonial Conference Coach of the Year. Coach James Shields was named by the District 27 coach as the Assistant Coach of the Year. And our team, they made history, simply put. The first ever back-to-back South Jersey Group 2 championships in the school's, historic tradition of wrestling. West Deptford has always been a wrestling town. It's blue collar, it's tough, it's everything you want in wrestling. But first time ever to be back-to-back South Jersey champs, not to mention to do it 2 years in a row against your rival. Yeah, special year.
Just so exciting to repeat like that, and like you said, against one of your biggest rivals and Colonial Conference team. So, here you are, Colonial Conference champs, South Jersey Group 2 champs, back-to-back years. We'd like to give a big congratulations to Jake McConville and Gavin Shields, both seniors picking up their 100 wins.
200 match winners on the same team.
And then you can't forget about our man, Cody Thurston.
Yeah.
Going up a weight class to 220 pounds and just casually taking 8th in the state.
In New Jersey.
So big congratulations to Cody Thurston, as he really found himself this year. It started in the fall and he rolled that right into the winter, and we expect big things for him moving forward. But, again, a program that we put out different lineups throughout the year. We had to rally around some injuries. Some guys had to step up in big positions, but there were some home matches where you were just like, man, West Deptford is so nasty and so tough. And you and I had the opportunity to travel up to Tom's River for the state tournament, where we went out a South Plainfield, a
36-27,
a wrestling powerhouse, and just absolutely set the tone. And it shows that, across the state that West Deptford means business. But I think our conditioning and our toughness speaks to what our coaches were doing this year, and it really showed. We were running teams off the mat.
One of the most complete lineups that we've seen in a long time. We've had some studs come through, but this was one of those lineups where there's very few weaknesses from top to bottom, and a lot of guys stepped up when we needed them to. So,
and that'll be a program that they'll never rebuild. They will just reload. And right now, if you're a West Deptford wrestler, you're looking at, where can I break into that lineup? Where can I add to this thing? As we see, I think 6 or 7 seniors out, and we'll welcome some newcomers coming up. And we expect to make a run at this thing for the next several years.
And a shout out to the feeder programs that we have in this township. We haven't really talked about them much, but Toph Vespi, John Chambers, Brad Entrikin, those guys down there in the youth program. I know Johnny Craig's involved as well. They do such a great job down there just developing the kids to get ready to come to this level. Jimmer Shields at the middle school, along with Coach Mario Iraldi, and that can be said across the board. You know what I mean? In basketball, the job the township basketball youth are doing, the job that Maureen Rulo did with the girls basketball team, the job Adam DiLorenzo has done with the boys middle school basketball team. Just, this town has taken a lot of pride in what it does from top to bottom, and that goes for the fall as well. So, great job by the wrestling squad this year, and take us into the boys basketball season in the nest.
Boys basketball, 21-8 overall on the year, 10 seniors on the team.
Wow.
which really speaks to the character of the program and what that team was all about. Led by 2 seniors in particular, not to leave anybody out, but I think everyone would agree. Brandon Ratcliffe and MJ Iraldi, coming into their own, really taking on leadership roles for Coach Jay McEwen and making it theirs. I think of all the winter teams, they may have got hit the hardest. We played some games where guys were maybe at 50% and started the year off 3-4.
Yep.
4 was the number of losses we had all of last year, and you're 7 games into a season. So, pressure was mounting, and I'm going to let you go on this in a second, but I was looking over some statistics. After the 3-4 start, you rattle off 8 straight and go 12-1 in a 13-game span to just put yourself, all of a sudden you're 15-5, looking at everybody saying, yeah, we're going to be a problem in the playoffs.
In one of the toughest schedules that's ever been created. We talked about tough schedules in the fall. How about playing Haddonfield twice, who's the returning sectional champs,
State champ.
State champ, and in the sectional final again. How about playing Camden twice? We played them in the holiday tournament, and then again in the semis. St. Augustine. I mean, the list goes.
Camden
Catholic.
I mean, and then
Rancocas Valley.
And you just think about the teams in the Colonial Conference in general.
Yeah, Haddon Heights, Sterling.
It's like a rival for us now. It's a fist fight every time they go at it. And it was just really impressive to see the team grow this year. And arguably one of in my 7 years, maybe the greatest basketball game ever played in the West Deptford gym in a 93-91 regulation game win over Pleasantville, where you've got MJ with like 38 points, Brandon with 24, Anto Baggi with another 20-25. I mean, just an all-out war where I don't know if there was a silent moment in the gym in one of those where the handshake afterward was just mutual respect from both programs. Like, wow, I've never been a part of a game like that.
And if you get time, which we have now, to go back on YouTube and find that game on our live stream in our archives, the 93-90, that's a 32-minute game where 183 points are scored. Like, put that into perspective. Go back and watch that game, and it'll be it'll be worth the time spent watching it for sure. I'd like to challenge anybody out there, like factually, other athletic directors or athletic departments, to let us know, email us or tweet Twitter at us, whatever. When was the last time another school had 200 match winners and 2,000-point scorers all in the same class? Those are 4 seniors, 200 match winners, 2,000-point scorers, all seniors. That's incredible.
Absolutely incredible. And to see the support from our student body during those major milestones, I think made it even cooler. I mean, these kids couldn't wait to celebrate with those individuals who achieved that. And I think all 4 of them always looked at it as team success, but really, really amazing that they were all able to achieve those feats. Brandon joins his dad, which, that'll forever be in the history books, both their names up on the wall there. And MJ, he really deserved to put his name up there, and it was just a really impressive finish for them. And, you go out swinging against a Camden High School team who's ranked in the nation, and we didn't back down. Anybody who came to Woodrow Wilson for that semifinal game, we went right at him with everything we had. We just fell short, but that doesn't define the season. It was the grit of that team and the plan that Coach McEwen put in place, and it really made for a successful season. I think I know we wanted to do this, but we'd like to give a big time shout out to Antonello Baggi, an Italian transfer student who came in and lived with MJ Iraldi. Like we had said in some of our live feeds, that's also something we'd like to shout out. I'll leave that one to you, but just a well-rounded individual, excellent student, well-liked by our student body, and was a really welcome addition to the basketball program in the West Deptford community.
You get a 6'7" transfer from Italy, and immediately you get excited about basketball, and you're not always thinking about character. You're just like, man, they can really help us on the basketball court, but he's one of the most first-class human beings I've ever met. And what he did for the hallways of our school was just second to none. He was beloved by everybody he came in contact with. He made no excuses. There was no, the language barrier, not an issue. He was just a fun-loving, great kid. I know he went back to Italy on Saturday to be with his family. They are about an hour outside of the epicenter of what we're dealing with right now. He lives in Cremona, Italy, and our thoughts and prayers go out to Anto and to his family. And what an unbelievable student and person he was to have in a building. I think it brought a new perspective to our kids that this is what you can be as a person.
I mean, speaks 4 languages. Like you said, never made an excuse when it came to the language barrier. If he didn't know something, he was looking it up in Italian and figuring it out. Yeah. When coach is drawing up plays, he's making sure he asks the right questions. And it also, he learned a little bit about the American game, and he got tougher throughout his time here. And I think he played some of his greatest basketball when it mattered most, and that was really exciting for him. But we know he's listening, and we just want him to know we're thinking of him and his family and his country, as the world battles this together. That made it very real for us, knowing that he was going to take that trip back to show his family support and kind of hunker down with them and battle this thing together as a family.
And then to wrap up the winter for the first time ever, I love challenging Mr. Kirshner. Man, he walks in my office and he sits down. Man, we're doing everything we can. I'm like, I feel like we could do some more. And born out of Anto was really this idea that Mr. Kirshner put together of the live stream feed so that Anto's parents could see it back in Italy. And it kind of took on a life of its own. And I think a really special shout out goes to all the students and Mr. Kirshner who made that possible, where we had WDTV set up for a live stream for just about every single indoor event that we had down the back stretch of this winter. I mean, 30, 40 events down the home stretch in the nest that we put out live stream. And what was special about it was really student run. Mr. Kirshner was, created kind of the brainchild of this thing and found some students who were just incredible at what they did. And to have students like Gavin Shields, Ian Murphy, Michael Griffith jump on board, Logan Nichols jump on board and not have to worry about what they were going to say. They were so mature and so professional and so even keeled, you know what I mean? And no bias either way, except for the big games when we need them to be jacked up. But, and some of our teachers came in. Pat Valeri, history teacher, former head basketball coach, comes in and gives great color analyst stuff down the home stretch. Vince Layton jumping on board. Johnny Craig for our wrestling matches. I mean, it was so awesome. And I've had a lot of people reach out in the Colonial Conference and beyond and say, well, you guys are putting the product you're putting out there is just first class. And once again, that's what West Deptford's all about.
It really was incredible. I had the opportunity to actually be on the broadcast as well, and it's just amazing. And I think you're right. Mr. Kirshner obviously being the brainchild behind it, but what our students did, especially staying even keeled. Obviously, we bleed, green and white and the Eagles, and we want to root them on. But their balance of giving credit to these other teams and the quality of opponent that we were going up against, it was really amazing. And I think it just shows that sports are bigger. We want to win, but man, look at this kid from Lindenwold. Look at how he's getting after it and this and that. And people also got to experience the beauty that is Mr. Seeley on that PA announcing. I can't tell you how many people are complimenting on what that guy brings to the table. I know even Pleasantville had said afterward, man, you guys put on an unbelievable performance, and that's for both teams, and we can't thank you enough for that.
And our kids get it. And I think that's what we want to wrap this show up with is West Deptford students get it. They get the expectation. They get what they signed up for. They know that when you are representing your school and your town and your family and your classmates, that it's about being first class, preparation, working hard, and doing everything you can to give a product that's second to none. And that's something that we're super proud of. And we're trying to do that with this podcast. And so that wraps up our fall and winter kind of recap there. So to our student athletes out there, we hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that this motivates you, even in this time of adversity, to remember what you're working for. That at some point, you're going to be thrust right back into the spotlight, right back into the arena, and you need to be prepared so that we're talking about you on here in the very soon future. So that's going to wrap this one up, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you next time.